In this program, we'll be looking at the physiological principles of taste. We will then find out that culinary art is also a science. And lastly, we will discover that the food industry is making commendable efforts to be in step with nature. Frog's legs, raw fish, duck feet. In some countries, these dishes are a delicacy, while in others, the mere suggestion is disgusting. How can you explain that? Well, it's because dietary habits are cultural and acquired. We like to eat what our parents taught us to eat, and what people in our culture have always eaten. The same applies to the individual. You may always prefer chocolate ice cream because you associate the flavor to a pleasant memory, a meeting perhaps. Impossible to dissociate certain dishes from the effective experiences of our past. So, is it in our head or in our mouth? And what if I told you that it's also in our nose? For animals, as for man, tasting is a vital necessity. Like all animal species, we must eat in order to survive. To choose appropriate foods, we need to know their identity, freshness, and nutritive value. Tasting is what enables us to gather this essential information. But we do not only taste with our mouth. The numerous and complex taste sensations we experience during a meal, for instance, are the result of a collaborative effort on the part of several of our senses. Smell is the first sense to come into play when we taste food. Even before a dish is served to us, the volatile molecules it releases enter our nostrils. There, they come into contact with sensitive cells equipped with hair-like projections, cilia, which transmit nerve signals to our brain. The brain then identifies the smells. The signals also go to the hypothalamus, the region of our brain responsible for hunger. This is why pleasant smells whet our appetite, whereas bad smells spoil it. Our sense of smell also contributes to a food's flavor, for the food in our mouth continues to emit volatile molecules that excite the cilia cells in our nostrils. The sense of smell, able to identify thousands of different molecules, provides us with a very refined appreciation of flavor. When we have a cold, for example, the weakening of our sense of smell considerably reduces our taste sensations. This phenomenon also explains why hot foods have more flavor than cold ones. Heated food releases more volatile molecules, thereby intensifying the olfactory sensations we perceive. It's one of the reasons why we like to heat our food. Our gustatory appreciation of food is also affected by sight. Just by looking at a dish, we already know whether or not we will like it. Unconsciously, we associate the color and appearance of food to its taste. Vision can have quite a bearing. It can even make us reject some foods whose smell and flavor we might like. So to make an objective assessment of how a food or drink tastes, it's better to close our eyes. Once we've recognized the smell of a dish and studied its appearance, we want to know what it tastes like. We make the discovery through specialized nerve endings and cells that line the inside of our mouth and our tongue. Some of these nerve endings inform us of the food's temperature. Others signal the presence of irritating chemical compounds, such as the capsaicin in hot pepper, by giving us a burning sensation. Moreover, sensitive cells located on the lips and gums inform us of the food's texture and consistency, two other factors that will affect our taste perception. However, the taste sensations as such come from several thousand little organs on the tongue, taste buds. Of various shapes, taste buds consist of sensitive cells linked to nerve fibers. When we eat, the molecules that make up the food are first dissolved in our saliva, then enter into contact with the taste buds' sensitive cells. Through a mechanism still little known, these cells transmit nerve signals to the brain. These signals correspond to four principal flavors: salty, sweet, sour, and bitter. All our taste sensations result from a combination of these four basic tastes. Most foods have all four flavors, but their relative intensity varies, so each food has its own characteristic taste. Taste sensations play an important role. They help us satisfy our specific nutrition needs and protect us from consuming foods that might be harmful. Every food is associated with a feeling of pleasure or displeasure. The foods we prefer are those that have repeatedly best satisfied our needs in the past. Only one of the four basic tastes seems to appeal to all human beings: sweetness. It's an innate taste that infants have as soon as they're born. Perhaps that is why we usually finish our meal with a sweet dessert. It's no accident that everyone, everywhere likes sugar. It's universal because all our cells work on glucose. No wonder either that it's the tip of the tongue that recognizes the sweet flavor, since it's our first contact point with food. Once again, nature did a good job. The area of the tongue that recognize salty flavors are located on either side of the sweet area. The bitter and sour sensations are also recognized by specific areas of our tongue. But regardless of where on our tongue the nervous impulses carrying these sensations are located, eating is a pleasure and cooking an art. But did you also know that it's a science? There is a laboratory in every home. A laboratory where bold experimenters control complex chemical and physical reactions through sophisticated techniques. That laboratory is the kitchen. Indeed, all the stages involved in preparing a meal consist of transforming foods chemically and physically to change their taste, texture, or color. For example, many fruits and vegetables will brown once cut. This change in color is caused by an enzyme, polyphenol oxidase. This enzyme, contained inside the cells of certain plants, is released when the cells are broken. On contact with air, the polyphenol oxidase causes the plant to brown. Fortunately, cooks have learned to use lemon juice to postpone that undesirable reaction. Lemons have no polyphenol oxidase. On the other hand, they contain citric acid, and the action of polyphenol oxidase decreases in an acid medium. Therefore, fruits and vegetables sprinkled with lemon juice will turn brown much more slowly. Another common culinary technique consists of beating liquid products, such as egg whites. Egg white contains mostly water and various proteins, the most plentiful being albumin. Albumin molecules form long, intertwined chains, a little like balls of thread. It is the sliding of these little beads on the molecules of water that gives egg whites their slimy consistency. When egg whites are whipped, air bubbles are incorporated into them. When the air bubbles make contact with the albumin molecules, the latter unroll. That chemical transformation, called denaturation, creates a delicate but firm network of water, albumin, and air. Incorporating air into egg whites will multiply their volume by 8. We can also alter the texture of food by mixing together various substances. For example, several sauces are made by adding a water-based solution to an oil-based solution. Shaking the mixture will not bind the two solutions. Molecules of oil will not unite with molecules of water. However, by adding products such as egg yolks or mustard to the mixture, you can create an emulsion, that is, a suspension of tiny droplets of oil in the water. Molecules of substances like egg yolk, called emulsifiers, provide the oil drops with electric charges. Droplets with the same electric charge will repel each other and not agglomerate. This is how mayonnaise, salad dressings, or creamy hollandaise and béarnaise sauces are made. Of all the processes used in a kitchen, the most frequent is cooking. Cooking processes are numerous and based on various physical principles. All procedures, however, have the same effects on food. Heat acts on meat, for instance, by profoundly changing its molecular structure. Meat, which consists essentially of muscular tissues, is made up of long protein molecules placed tightly side by side. This structure is what gives raw meat its stringy consistency. However, when you heat meat, the ties binding the molecules of protein break. They separate to agglomerate in the form of small spheres. This process, called coagulation, tenderizes meat and makes it less stringy. Coagulation also releases the molecules of water hidden amongst the strands of protein, causing cooking juices to flow. In addition to altering the texture of foods, some cooking processes bring out their flavor more than others. When the temperature of foods reaches 154 degrees Celsius, a series of chemical reactions occur. Scientists still do not fully understand these reactions, called Maillard's reactions. It would seem that heat causes numerous molecules in foods to break up and dissolve, forming new colored compounds with intense flavor. Conversely, in boiling water or in a microwave oven, the temperature of foods never exceeds 100 degrees Celsius. Foods cooked either way will not brown, nor will their flavor be enhanced. Cooking techniques have evolved over the centuries through the trials and errors of countless cooks. In this respect, cooking is like science. Both are vast collective undertakings aimed at improving our well-being. Don't worry, you can forget all about Maillard's reaction and make wonderful roasts. Gastronomy has developed thanks to the experience of all chefs, great and small. But it also benefited from advances in technology, the invention of the refrigerator, and the development of various preservation techniques are examples. The research goes on today. One of research's prime objectives is the development of healthy additives and preservatives. In today's society, the preparing of food has become an industrial activity. Many processes, often borrowed from traditional cuisine, go into the making of a wide range of ready-to-eat dishes. To make these products attractive and tasty, the food industry resorts to numerous synthetically made compounds. Since there is considerable concern about how these additives will affect our health, scientists are looking for alternatives. A vast array of natural compounds are already being used to replace synthetic food additives. Many plants produce sweet-smelling volatile compounds, pigments, and other chemical products with specific properties. Such plants have long been used in cooking as seasonings, for instance. But the food industry is reluctant to use them because of their high cost. However, researchers are developing processes to extract aromas, essences, and other plant compounds at a lower cost. One of these techniques, already used in the food industry, consists of bringing water to the steaming point and exposing plants to the steam. As it passes through the plants, the steam draws the aromatic products along with it. This extracts a concentrated essence which retains the aroma of the plant. The high temperature of the steam can, however, destroy some of the essence's compounds. A new method of extraction that avoids that drawback is based on microwave technology. For example, in mint, as in several other plants, the essence is concentrated in small glands located on the surface of the leaves. When the plant is subjected to microwaves, the water in the glands suddenly turns into steam. The glands then burst, releasing their odorous substances. This technique has a number of advantages over traditional methods of extracting plant essences. Most of a plant's aromas can be extracted in a single minute, instead of the 90 minutes required by other techniques. Moreover, if the plant is previously immersed in a solvent resistant to microwave heat, delicate aromas can be collected which would have been destroyed by too much heat. This technique paves the way for the massive production of natural aromas, which may prove more complex and richer than those already available. While some researchers are perfecting methods to extract plant essences, others have succeeded in controlling, for the same purposes, plant cells and microorganisms. These plant cells and microorganisms will, on demand, produce useful food flavors and compounds. This is done by cultivating plant cells in a sterilized environment. The plant cells, isolated from grape seeds, for instance, will grow indefinitely, provided the nutritive elements in their culture environment are renewed. The cells are immobilized in bioreactors, that is, devices capable of automatically controlling the cell's conditions of growth. The essence is then gathered by subjecting the cells to a series of growth cycles. This can produce very high yields. A grape cellular culture is able to generate up to 7% of its own weight in anthocyanin, a natural purple-colored pigment. Anthocyanin could replace the artificial coloring used in drinks, for instance. The culture of plant cells enables scientists to obtain a supply both constant and of unvarying quality of a given substance. This is a considerable advantage, since the production and price of aromatic plants fluctuate enormously. Food additives can also be produced from microorganisms, which multiply at a much faster rate than plant cells. Researchers have discovered that a bacteria which naturally contaminates milk will, under certain conditions, produce 27 aromatic substances. As surprising as it may seem, this chemical cocktail lets off a powerful strawberry scent. The bacteria can be cultivated in a bioreactor from a byproduct of milk. we can obtain large quantities of a natural aroma that is impossible to distinguish from a genuine strawberry extract. Thanks to genetic engineering, scientists are attempting to create bacteria colonies that would produce on demand all sorts of food compounds, such as essences and colorings. The food industry is sure to implement these new methods soon. Perhaps in the future, ready-made dishes will be less tasteless and more natural than the ones on the market today. Did you know that hot pepper is one of the most used spices in the world? Perhaps its popularity is due to the fact that capsaicin, the substance that gives it its hot taste, excites the organism like danger does. Eating spicy foods may be quite a harmless way of living dangerously.